Welcome everyone to This Week in Geek episode 101, and we're going to be talking everything Superman 101 today. My name is Ren Geekness. I am joined, of course, by my co-host Zach Pope, and today we start the streak of having guests again on the show with my good friend from the UK, Neil Vag. Neil, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, I'm very excited to have you on. I mean, we're talking Superman, even though I have a Superboy shirt on,
Love it.
because it's the only one I
Okay,
have
I got a Venom shirt.
available. Zach is going against Brent today. But I'm very excited to have you because I couldn't think of anyone else to talk all things DC, all things DCU as we start the universe next year. And of course, as you might have guessed by what I just said, by the title, by the thumbnail, today is going to be all about that Superman trailer. And I'm being very careful not to give away any of my thoughts, even though they're all over Twitter at this point. But in case you're unfamiliar with This Week in Geek, in case you're unfamiliar with This Week in Geek 101, here's how the show works. We have 3 segments. We go through our weekly ranking to start us off. Then we go into the main topic, which is this week, talk about that Superman trailer coming on July 11th, July 10th, if you're here in Portugal. And then we go into my favorite part of the show, which is answering your questions, which you can leave on the community tab on my channel. You'll see a post there with a thumbnail for this picture. And of course, we do our best to get to as many questions as we have, because again, it is my favorite segment of the show. But just in case we can't get to all the questions and you want to guarantee your question is answered, make sure to use the tip link in the description or use the super chat feature because it always helps us out. Now, of course, we start off with our weekly ranking, and I didn't watch much this week. I'm going to get us started on this one. I only watched 6 things over the course of this week. 2 of them are TV shows, 4 of them are movies. One of these movies I watched twice, and you're not going to guess which one it is, judging by where it lands on the ranking. But I'm going to get us started with exactly that movie, the movie that I saw twice, and that is Kraven the Hunter. Why did I see it twice, even though it's so horrible? Because it is a blast. I never had such a good time watching any of these Sony Spider-Man-less Spider-Man movies. But Kraven is a blast. I love that they didn't even bother with a post-credit scene or a mid-credit scene. I feel sorry for
Yours didn't have one?
No? Did yours?
Oh, yeah, it did. Yours didn't have one?
No, it didn't. I already know you're joking.
No, I'm not. Mine had him running through a cave with his outfit on. I'm being serious.
With the vest that he was gifted by the father he hates.
No way.
Yeah.
Did he
No,
really?
I'm kidding. No.
Okay, exactly. There you go. But do you remember the scenes in the trailers where Kraven has like a torch and he's in like the middle of the cave? Not in the movie whatsoever.
I think that was supposed to be the end credit scene.
I believe so too, because literally do you mind spoilers, Neil?
No, go for it. I'm probably
In
not
case
going to.
anyone watching mind spoilers, just mute while I have my hand up. The final shot of the film is him putting the vest on and sitting down like he is sitting down on the first poster they released for the film. So literally the first piece of marketing that we ever got for Kraven the Hunter is the last shot in Kraven the Hunter. Just so you know. All right. Spoilers are done. You can put on your sound on. But yes, Kraven the Hunter, terrible movie. Please do go watch it with friends. Not that I'm promoting.
Are you gonna buy it?
Or
are you gonna buy it?
I don't know if I'm gonna buy it. If someone offers it to me, like on a birthday or next Christmas, I will gladly take it. Please give me a steelbook.
I think it's fun. I think it's fun. It's not a good movie.
It's so much fun.
But it's fun.
There's a character who says, shortly after that, my grandmother died and I haven't seen her since. That's an actual line in the movie that they gave to Oscar winner Ariana.
Would you guys take a shot for every single time they said, "Oh my god, I'm a hunter"?
I'm a hunter.
Like
either that one or "Don't be weak like your mother. Be strong like me." Also, this entire movie is about Kraven the Hunter, who's the best tracker in the world, but the entire plot hinges on him needing Calypso's help to track down people.
Yep.
Again, Sony. Next up, I watched a beloved comedy classic yesterday for the first time. I know many people love this film. I thought it was mid, and that is Happy Gilmore. I am preparing to watch the sequel, and hopefully the sequel is much better for me. I wasn't too much into this one. Next up, I'm going to have Mufasa the Lion King, which I seem to have enjoyed more than most people, apart from the songs. I don't think there's a single good song in this musical. That is a problem. Um,
Yeah.
I also didn't like the framing device where every time you cut to Kiara and Rafiki in the present day, I don't know why we're cutting to that because there's literally no tension. There's no conflict in there. It's just she's worried about a storm that's coming. She doesn't know what her parents are. We know where her parents are. They're giving birth to her brother. That's it.
Did they say the brother's name?
No, but the brother, I'm sure it's the guy from the animated show, which is the
Okay.
show where they first introduced the
So
concept.
tell me
of-
why I thought they were gonna say Mufasa, like as the brother's name.
Oh, I thought they were gonna mix up the mythos and just say his name is Kovu, which I
Oh
think
yeah.
would have been hilarious. Because let's face it, there's gonna be incest to keep that bloodline going, because they're lions. Anyway, but it's Disney, so they can't they can't be obvious about that. Next up, I'm going to have the Netflix film Carry On. I thought this was a really good time. Really solid thriller. I've always been a fan of Jean-Claude Serra. I love Nonstop. I still think that's his best movie. Curiously enough, also involves a plane and airports. And I think I also really like Run All Night. I think that's a really well done film. This this is up there. This is on the upper echelon of Jean-Claude Serra thrillers. On top of that, I'm going to have this week's Creature Commandos, which had me tearing up surprisingly for a character that I never thought I'd get emotional over. But
Yep.
in typical James Gunn fashion, he finds these odd misfits. They're like, this guy is funny, and then just reveals a hidden depth to them that I really appreciate. And my first place goes to this week's episode of Dragon Ball Daima, which it's now in its second half. It's going to have 20 episodes. This week was episode 11. I am really enjoying it now, and you can see I'm loving theorizing about everything that's coming and how it connects to everything we've already seen. All right, Zach, what do you got?
All right. So I actually watched quite a bit. So we're gonna start off because it's been 2 weeks, so I'm a little confused on what I watched and what I didn't watch. So I'm just gonna kind of combine everything together since the last time we were on. So last place, Craven the Hunter. I mean, you said everything. I don't hate this movie. Like honestly, like I enjoyed it. I kind of see where the great things were, but I think Sony is gonna Sony, and I clearly think you can see that there was reshoots done. I think there was lazy reshoots done.
Ooh, so did you? I noticed on the second watch, the Alessandro Nivola's hair, which is like razor thin, and then in the third act, you just see how slightly much bigger it is.
Yeah,
it's a fantastic kind of
which
reshoot.
I was going to say this. I fully believe. Oh, I'm allowed to say spoilers.
Yeah, go for it. No,
I fully believe all that Rhino stuff reshot. I think the Rhino was not going to be in this movie at all. I think we would have seen him starting to become the Rhino. He wouldn't have been the Rhino for the whole film.
Fair.
Fully believe it. Fully believe it after watching the film. But after that, I also watched Baby Girl. Disappointing. I
agree.
I thought it was just fine. I didn't get the hype. Good.
We were all like that in Venice. All four of us were like, okay.
Yeah, my wife's when it ended, she said, "I don't understand what I just watched." So
I don't understand how Nicole Kidman cheats on Antonio Banderas with
that too. After that, I have Amelia Perez. I finally watched it, and I didn't mind it. I thought it was fine. It's not an Oscar-winning film. I don't think it should be, but I actually kind of enjoyed it. I think it's way too long, but I had fun with it for what it is. I also, fun fact, did not know the Sister Brothers director had directed this.
Yeah.
And I love that movie. So, yeah, better than I expected.
Have you seen Amelia Perez yet, Neil?
No, I haven't actually. It's on my watch list.
Okay. Yeah, I only watched it because I knew it's probably going to get nominated. So
yeah,
I was like,
it'll most definitely get nominated. You can just leave it for the Best Picture lineup.
Yeah. After that, I have Mufasa: The Lion King, a film that, just like you, Ren, I liked. The music's fine. It's not memorable at all. I cannot believe Lin-Manuel Miranda made this.
But I know.
It's the definition of fine. Yeah. Like, that's literally what it is. So It's an okay movie. I don't really care. I probably never will revisit it. After this, I have Queer. I finally saw Queer, and I love the first half.
There it is.
Back half lost me. On thinking about it like a little bit more, I kind of liked what they did, but at the same time, it just like, it was.
I want to give it the second watch to see how the second half hits me, knowing what's coming.
Agree. After this, I'm trying to see what I have. Oh, I have The Order. Really good movie. Really
Yes!
good movie. Little, not slow, but a little predictable. Like, I kind of knew, okay, this is what's gonna happen. But very fantastic performances and honestly underrated. Then I have Carry On, which I thought was such a surprise. Kind of just came out of nowhere for me. And now every Christmas season, I'm going to watch this. Like, it was so much fun. And Taron Egerton, Jason Bateman just do a phenomenal job in this. So really great. My number one for the week is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I just such a blast in almost every way. As someone who grew up with Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic Heroes, Sonic Battle Adventure 2, this was what I wanted. I have small nitpicks. I actually think the film should have been longer. I think it could have been 15 more minutes to expand.
How long is it?
On
2 hours?
It's an hour and 49. So it's the second shortest.
Wow.
But it's great. It's so much fun. The last 30 minutes makes it worthwhile. Like literally just the last 30 minutes. Like you can enjoy the first half and be like, this is fun. The last 30 minutes made me go, holy shit, this is amazing. Like, so I dug it. And Creature Commando episode 4, I saw weeks ago. Amazing episode. If you have not watched it, check it out. But
I forgot to rank something. It would actually be my number one now that I remembered. This week's Skeleton Crew. Like,
I
I'm
haven't
full on
watched it.
board
I
with
need to
the
watch
show.
it.
We're officially
haven't watched
halfway
it.
through, so
Yeah.
I love this show.
I haven't watched the 4th episode yet.
So good. So good. All right,
Should
Neil.
I just wait to binge it though? Like, would you say I should just
Ooh,
wait
good
to binge
question.
it all?
It,
Because I saw the first 3, and now I was sitting there like, I'll probably just
Yeah.
wait till it's all done.
I watched the first 3 like one after the other. Since then, I've been watching weekly. I think it's a very bingeable show. It works week to week, but it's a very bingeable show. So if
Yeah.
at this point you want to wait, you only have got 4 more weeks to wait
Okay.
anyway. So
I'll
might
probably
as well.
wait then.
Sure.
Unless Ren, if you watch it and you're like, you have to watch this one, there's something massive that
If
happens.
there's something massive where I'm like, you're gonna get spoiled, I will let you know.
Okay. Sounds
On
good.
that front, do we think this is going somewhere really, really massive? Because the reason I say this, we've just been offered interviews with the showrunners to go with the finale. And I'm like, oh, we're circling back and doing a mini junket for the end of the season.
I would say so.
It's-
If they're saying that, then yeah.
Yeah.
On the optimistic side, I'm saying it's gotta be that. On the pessimistic side, maybe they're not getting as many viewings.
That
as
was
many
the other-
viewers
yeah.
as
Yeah.
as they want to. Which
It's not on the
makes
Nielsen
sense.
chart. It's
Acolyte
not on the
wasn't that
Nielsen
good.
chart.
Is it?
yeah.
Interesting.
It's not on the Nielsen chart top 10. So
Okay.
Could be that,
Is
but either
that
way,
not-
go for it.
I know exactly. I was like, yeah, we'll take that.
Absolutely.
Okay, what have I been watching? I've only seen one film this week, which was Carry On, which I watched last night. Yeah, pleasantly surprised by that one. I was.
So
not
it's your
expecting-
best and the worst of the week.
Yeah. What is my worst of the week? To be fair, everything I've watched this week has been pretty good. I binged. What I'll put at the bottom. I binged the Cross series on Prime. So it's the Alex Cross adaptation, which is the first. Yeah, it is. It's pretty good. It's a good binge. It is the kind of thing that is better watched as a binge than watching weekly. It's not based on one of the books. It's an original story that's kind of a prequel setting up who he is if you are a fan of the books. But Aldous Hodge is great. It's a really good cast. It's a really solid show, and it's an interesting mystery that's got enough twists to keep it going through 8 episodes. So that was interesting. I will put Carry On next. Only film I have watched this week. Taron Egerton, great cast, great story, really engaging. Did not expect it to make my Christmas watch list, but that will similarly for me now be a Christmas regular. And then it's so difficult to know which of these next 2 things that I have watched this week is my favorite of the 2. But basically, I watched the last episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, which is emotional. It's so well written. It's like an exquisite end to a TV show. I hope there is more from those characters in the future, but if we never get anything else from them, Mike McMahon did an incredible job. I would struggle to find anybody not to be satisfied by that as a series finale to a show. It's so poignantly written, and it's just a great way, if you love those characters, to send them off, which I really enjoyed. And then I guess my favorite thing of the week has to be Creature Commandos. So similar to you, Zach, I saw this a few weeks ago, screener-wise, but rewatched it again this week with it finally being out. The only thing I'm so sad about is the fact that they put all of those really big moments for other characters in this episode into promos. There was no need to put it in the coming up this season.
I agree.
But for whatever reason, they decided that they were going to drop the bombshell that this is the first time we are seeing Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman in the DCU. But what way to have our first introduction to them in the story? And like you were saying, Ren, everyone goes into this knowing Weasel, thinking he's this comedy kind of shit character from the Suicide Squad who got killed off once, and the punchline is that he's not dead after all, and he's kind of useless.
It's a great punchline, to be fair.
And then you get this backstory, and it is just so heartbreaking, and it's so well written. I think this was my favorite episode of Creature Commandos as the whole, of the whole season as well.
I fully agree. I think the finale. I think the finale is really good too.
Yes.
Specifically the character they focus in on there.
Yes.
But like
100%.
Going to episode 4, just because I know we're going to talk Superman, so we're sticking in the DCU realm. When I was watching that screener, my wife walked in and she goes, "Oh, is that?" She didn't know what the hell I was watching. She's like, "Is that the thing from Suicide Squad?" I was like, "Yeah." So she's sitting there watching it, and I had heard rumors about this emotional thing.
Yeah.
And we get through it, and she goes, "That was the most depressing thing I've
Yeah.
watched."
True.
So, yeah. Fantastic.
It's the way he takes characters like that and makes you realize just how much you can flip a character like that to make it from a punchline to something so poignant.
Peacemaker. Peacemaker is the biggest thing for that. I hated that character. I
hated that character. I hated the trailers for the show. Watching
Same.
the trailers, I was like, why is this a show? This looks horrible.
And then you watch the show, and it's amazing. I love that show. So, yeah.
I do love the how culturally present last week's episode has become in the meme culture, where everyone's using that one screenshot all over Twitter from GI Robot to get back at all the people that are not aligned with the Superman trailer or are very much interpreting it wrong. I really love GI Robot, even though the episode wasn't the best. That is still one of my favorite characters in this show.
Yeah,
he's awesome. So let me ask you, Sergeant Rock the movie, he has to be in it, right?
Yeah. I completely see that moment being an intersect in that whole film,
because he shows up correctly. We see at least a shot.
That is Sergeant Rock. Yeah.
That is him.
Yeah. Alrighty, let's see your weekly rankings in the chat. First up, we got Eric Thorpe, number 1, The Batman. Number 2
nice.
is very due a rewatch for me very soon. Number 2, Peaky Blinders season 2, which I need to start this show before the film comes out. Number 3, Frozen. Number 4, Arcane season 1. I still need to finish season 2. Number 5, The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, and number 6, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, which is in last place where it belongs. And those are my thoughts on that. My Geek OVP weekly ranking: number 11, Venom: The Last Dance; number 10, Red 1; number 9, Thelma; number 8, Sonic the Hedgehog 3; number 7, Juror number 2; number 6, We Live in Time, which I just reviewed. I was very late to the party I wasn't late to the party to watch it. I was late to the party to review it, but it's finally out on the channel. It's doing surprisingly well for such a late review. Number 5, Heretic, which isn't my top 10 of the year, but that's a spoiler for a video next week. Number 4, Creature Commandos, all the episodes so far. Number 3, Sing Sing, which I still have to catch up on. And number 2, Shrinking. Number 1, Anora. If you are not watching Shrinking, this show is sensational.
The season's terrible.
You are not watching it.
I am watching it.
No, you're
The
not.
season is not that good. The first season was 10 times better.
What are your issues with this season, Zach? See, there you go. You're already laughing. I know you.
Is it done?
Is
the new season done? Is the new season done yet?
I believe there's one more episode.
Okay, I'll probably start watching it this week then.
Yeah, and you're gonna cry at basically every episode, even when you think you're not. There comes a moment where you're like, "Oh no, oh no, oh no, the tears are coming," and they come. So yeah, it's a really good show if you're not watching. And I was surprised because I thought last week had been the finale, and I was somewhat disappointed. We're like, "Oh, we're ending like with this moment," and then, "Oh, new episode is out. Cool." So I think it's gonna be 12 episodes. I thought it was gonna be 10, but I think it's gonna be 12. All right. We are done with the weekly rankings. So, gentlemen, Superman. We have now seen the trailer. Our
Multiple
first look
times.
at gorgeous poster, by
So
the way.
many
Not that
times.
we're here to talk about the poster, but goddamn. Neil,
I want to get
as
this poster so bad.
Oh, me too.
I would get
It
this
needs to be up
tattooed on
here.
my back. That's how beautiful it is. Neil, your initial thoughts, your brief overview of how you felt watching this trailer, and you did see it before everyone else. So I want to know a little bit of that as well.
Yeah, I had to not talk to you about this for 4 days, which killed me.
I didn't know it was 4 days.
Yeah, it
Oh
was.
my god.
Yep, I had to sign the biggest NDA I have ever seen in my life to even be told when I would be able to watch this trailer.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, I found out on Friday of last week that I would be watching it on Monday. And attending a Q&A with James Gunn, which was awesome. So they did 3 events on Monday. They did 2 virtual, one for the UK and Europe, which was first. There was 100 of us at that. Then they did their in-person in LA, and then they did another virtual for Australia, New Zealand, and Asia. So there were like 3 groups of people that got to watch it. I got to watch it once, and once only, with watermarks everywhere. Like my name was on it, my email address was on it, my IP address was all over it. So it was like, okay, I've watched it, but I've not really watched it.
Not
But
in full glory.
Oh, yeah, it was at least in like 1080p, so it wasn't too blurry. But I loved it. I just loved it. It was. I think they really, really hit the right note by the whole look up thing beforehand on this poster. This like look up. Here is the hero. Here is the optimism. Here is the power of Superman. And then the teaser that came out the day before the trailer, which was mainly footage not in the trailer, which I thought was a little bit confusing, but playing into the whole idea of look up again. I don't know. I feel like this is one of the most considered trailers I've seen in years. Like, I feel like you can feel Gunn agonizing and obsessing over every single shot that's in this and where it is and the order of it and how it works. And I just think it for me, as someone that reads Superman and has read Superman since I was a kid, and it just feels like how I imagine Superman to be. And that is not to take away from anyone who might be a fan of the previous iteration of Superman. But this, to me, feels more like my Superman who I've grown up with, which, there is barely anything I would change about this trailer, to be honest.
Zach, what are your thoughts on this? Even though you did the trailer reaction.
Initial thoughts. I've seen the trailer so many times now. Can I say a couple initial thoughts? So,
Yeah.
One, I want Crypto as a dog. Not.
Yes.
I don't need Crypto. I just want a dog like that, and I'm going to name him Crypto. My wife has already agreed. So, whenever we find a dog like that, we will be adopting a dog and naming him.
Give
Crypto.
him a cape.
Absolutely. 2, I cried watching it. I genuinely, like, the trailer finished and I just was emotional. And part of that is, like, when I grew up, Batman and Spider-Man were like my all-time heroes. I liked some of the weird ones, but Superman was like kind of one of those special ones. I dressed up as Superman for Halloween, but Superman never really stuck around with me. And I think a lot of that just is he wasn't in the really much the zeitgeist of anything. Comics, I genuinely just don't think like he was ever pushed. But it's crazy because he's top 2 most iconic superheroes of all time. So, a lot of it is I'm emotional because like my son will be able to grow up with a Superman like this. Hopefully, at least, hopefully the movie succeeds and all that, and we continue with this universe. But second, I was someone who wasn't excited for this casting. I love David Cornsweet. I think he's an amazing actor. But when they initially said Henry's gone, I'm like, now you're kind of starting to lose me. Some of this stuff is canon, some of it's not. Just redo everything or don't. And my wife, biggest Henry Cavill fan, her top 3 favorite films of all
second
time
biggest
is Man
fan
of
I've ever
Steel.
met.
She is obsessed with that movie. Like, if I come home, 99% of the time she's either watching that or Twilight. Like, genuinely, like, I don't know what that says about her, but like, if I'm going out
She's
grocery
either
shopping, I
watching
come home,
Superman or Batman, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
basically. Last night I came home, she's watching Man of Steel. So, like, it's the same thing. So she has not watched this trailer yet. She refuses to. I know she will. I know she will go see this movie. It does not matter.
Because you're going to take her.
Yeah, I'm going to force her to watch this thing, and I know she's going to like it, even if it's against it. Because I was against it. I wasn't like one of those haters, but I just, I was excited to see what this trailer is going to be. And this trailer completely 180'd me or 360'd me on any idea of this. This movie went from, it was like number 10 on my most anticipated for next year. It is very high on my most anticipated now. Just from this one trailer. It was 10 mostly for curiosity to see what can James Gunn do that's not the Suicide Squad, that's not Guardians, that's not that, because Superman is so different.
Yeah.
And this trailer, if it's to say anything, lines all of that up and gave me hope, which is what Superman should inspire. So
yes,
I thought this trailer was phenomenal as a teaser. I almost don't want to see anything else. I know I will cover the rest of the trailers though.
I'm done watching trailers.
But this trailer was amazing. Also, shout out to Nicholas fucking Hoult. He looks so good as Lex Luthor.
He looks amazing.
I wanted to ask you guys, what was your favorite shot in the trailer? I think my favorite one was him and Lois going up, like circling while they're kissing. So what was your guys' favorite?
It's either that or the specific shot of Lex Luthor with the gun. Not even because of the gun, because of the look on his face.
Yeah, you can just tell he hates Superman. You can tell he hates Superman so much.
You see that he hates Superman, but you also see that he's conflicted about it because he knows Superman is good. He doesn't hate Superman because he's evil, because he's going to hurt the world. He hates Superman because, goddamn it, he's taking the spotlight away from me, but this dude is good, and it eats him up inside. Just like in the best Superman stories, Lex Luthor understands that about Superman.
Nicholas Holt's going to kill it.
He really is.
Especially after watching The Order.
Yeah.
How about you, Neil?
Favorite shot? I think it's probably Superman holding what I think is Kellex. So clearly we're going to see... We're going to see something attack the Fortress of Solitude. I know when they shot all of that stuff, Nicholas Hoult was there, and there's a shot in the theatrical version of this trailer that kind of alludes to Nicholas Hoult.
And you can see him in Ultraman, I think, in that theatrical.
Yes.
So,
but this, what I love about this shot is the humanity in Superman and in David Corn Sweat's face for what is a completely robotic character. Like, this just tells me this version of Superman cares about everyone, everything, as Superman should. And you can kind of feel his heartbreaking in this moment. And it's just, can't wait to see what is going on here.
His physicality is Clark, too.
Just to be clear, is no one's favorite shot the Guy Gardner bowl cut?
No. It was cool. I liked it.
Yeah,
I didn't mind it. I liked his face when he just had that good symbolism to him. Speaking of this, okay, so I don't know much about Ultraman from the comics. I'm not sure if you guys do. Who is Ultraman? Because that's who he is, right? That's who the character is in the trailer, right?
As far as I know, and Neil is the true expert here, there's basically two people you can call Ultraman. One of them is the Superman clone, which seems this is
that's what I'm assuming you're going with.
Or the alternate from Earth 3?
Correct.
Earth 3, yeah.
Okay.
So
we're all assuming there's a clone in this, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's Lex. I think Lex is trying to figure out a way to take down Superman because he hates him so much, and he figures the only way to do it is to have him face off against an absolute, complete, and utter equal. So I think that's
what I was.
There's probably going to be some kind of, well, presumably, whatever that ginormous kaiju is, there is some kind of fight that means Lex is going to get his hands on some Superman DNA and use it to make a clone, is what I think is going to happen.
Because and honestly, really interesting to open up your shot as a Yamcha of him just laying there bleeding. Very interesting shot to start your whole DC universe for a majority of people.
Yeah.
Because to the general going audience, when I came to work that morning, no one knew that the trailer had dropped. Except like two people. And so a bunch of people started watching it. And I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of them just thought it was fine. which was really surprising to me. And one of them said, why am I seeing him get beat up already? It's Superman. He shouldn't be bleeding.
I thought it was interesting, but also extremely smart, because
Yep.
the
I
biggest
liked it.
problem you have with a Superman story, the biggest problem Superman has had as a character in terms of like the biggest
Relatability.
complaint people have about him is how is he relatable? Because he's a god. So you start the trailer of, look, he can be hurt, he can be vulnerable physically, and then you show what Superman represents. First, you show who he is, then you show what he represents for what is the image of Superman for.
And as much as I love Henry Cavill, I am so excited to see his Clark Kent.
Yes.
David, because his manner, like, it reminds me of Christopher Reeves. My favorite thing I've ever seen from Christopher Reeves, and I just got done watching the Superman doc, which I did not talk about. That was a 5 out of 5. But they show that shot of when he takes off the glasses, he fixes his pose, and then puts it back on. A lot of it is David doing the same thing. Like, his clothes are baggy, and he's like just like all
hunched over.
Yeah. He's so like do we think Lois knows he's Superman already by the time this movie starts?
I think so.
I don't know that she knows by the time the film starts, but like I wouldn't be surprised if the very shot that we see in the trailer where she turns around with the coffee and then he's like looking over his shoulder to her and like she immediately spots, oh, okay, you're Superman.
Yeah.
It could be something she
like one way or another, she finds out in this film, one way or another, they're already in a relationship at some point in this film.
And you see,
so go ahead. I
was just going to say, I mean, you see there are romantic moments between her and Clark and her and Superman in this. But actually, the moment when they're in the apartment and she's kissing him and he's in Clark Kent clothing, he does not have glasses on. So that just led me to, okay, whenever this moment is, she is like fully aware. Either that or she has a complex like romantic life.
Yeah, exactly.
One last
also,
thing.
Whatever that green purple thing is in the sky, Superman does not give a shit.
No.
What do you think it
Way
is?
too busy.
What do you think it is?
I think it's Brainiac.
Yeah, I think so too. But
Really?
I think they're gonna do a Brainiac as in like Brainiac is the AI in his ship, and eventually maybe for the second movie it turns bad.
So I had thought to begin with from that one first watch that the shot that is very, very clearly Metamorpho might have been Brainiac, because quality-wise you couldn't see the fact that character was kind of purple and orange, whereas now you can really, in the 4K version, like that is Metamorpho. But I wasn't sure whether it would be Brainiac or not, because there's a couple of things that it could be, some of which ties into Maxwell Lord, who is also in this film, played by Sean Gunn. But then when you see it in this trailer and it's got the green tendrils now coming out of it, I'm kind of like, okay, green is leading me towards Brainiac. But that could be an intentional mislead.
Yeah.
Could be, but I also
or maybe
think
it's Brainiac's technology and someone's using it.
Yeah. It could add up to the fact that Superman does not care what's that, because Brainiac is still quote unquote good in this film, and maybe for the second film we start seeing the corruption. I didn't give my thoughts on this trailer like here, so let me just full disclosure. Let me set the table up. Everyone knows Henry Cavill is my favorite Superman. Everyone knows I call Man of Steel. I coined the term masterpiece of steel for the internet. Throughout my life, I've never been a Superman guy. Like when I watched Superman the animated series growing up, I watched Superman the animated series because Batman the animated series was gonna come up right after it. I watched Justice League because it had Batman in it. Superman just happened to be there. I was never a Superman guy. I watched him growing up, but I didn't care about the Christopher Reeve ones, even though the documentary this year was amazing. Didn't care for the Brandon Routh one. I was 13 years old watching that film, and I was bored to tears. And even Men of Steel. I watched Men of Steel for Zach knows this. I'm not sure if you do, Neil.
I'm the same way
of
of
this
this
for the first time, and I was like, I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. And then just going back on it, I began to love it, and it's point blank one of my favorite films ever made, of all time. So everyone knows we covered it time and time again on the show. I was not excited for this film. I wanted to be proven wrong, but I was going into this film like, I wish they just kept Cavill. This trailer is amazing, and forget which version of Superman you prefer, whether you love the Henry Cavill or not. In such a close span of time where this film is coming out, it's depressing. 12 years after Man of Steel. you need a drastically different take on the character.
Yeah, you do.
Just like whenever the DCU Batman comes out, it needs to be a drastically different version than the Robert Pattinson one. I love this trailer. I love everything that it represents. Do I want this Superman to actually have his own theme? Yes, but it's okay to have the John Williams one for the trailer. I love Crypto. I love how romantic this film looks like it's going to be.
Yeah.
I love that you have all the tradition, the old-fashionedness of Superman, while also looking like so modern and feeling so contemporary. It doesn't look like the real world. It looks like a blend of the real world with a sort of heightened comic booky
Yeah.
reality. That's what I want for Superman. That's what I want for comic book movies in general. It shot right up to my most anticipated list of the year, like you, Zach. I don't know that it's my most anticipated yet. I think there's something more fantastic that I'm still more looking forward to, but this is very much a super trailer that is very high up there. But we'll talk about my most anticipated whenever I do that video on January 1st. I love this. This fully convinced me to be on board to still love Henry Cavill. As of right now, I haven't seen this film, so Henry Cavill is still my favorite Superman. That's still my favorite Superman movie. I cannot wait to see this. I think it captures so much of the beauty, the earnestness, the purity, and it's unashamedly the word isn't corny because that word has a lot of negative connotations to it. I have no negative connotations towards this trailer. It looks so hopeful. It's the perfect word to describe it. It's the perfect word to describe the colors, the energy in this film, how you see the moments with Clark and Pa Kent, with Clark and Lois. You have to capture that to make us root for Superman. Kids should want to be Superman, and I don't mean kids should want their parents to explode in a dying planet and be sent away. I mean kids should want to stand up for truth and for what is good and kindness. And again, I said it about several films this year about We Live in Time, about The Wild Robot. We need more movies that showcase kindness as something that makes you strong, not as something that makes you weak. And I think Superman obviously seems like the perfect character to portray that, but as much as I love Henry Cavill, that was a different version of Superman, and that's fine. We need this version of Superman to be that that portrayal of hope and goodness and kindness.
That's something that I've probably spoken to you about this before, Ren, but like I actually feel this even more now having seen this trailer. But I feel like if say everything that Snyder did didn't exist and we got this and this came first and this was our DCU and this is successful and someone goes, let's do like an Elseworlds thing where rather than humanity accepting Superman and seeing him as a hero, they're more skeptical of him. And then Zack Snyder comes in and makes Man of Steel, it's huge.
Yeah.
And it's received completely differently. And spawns this, okay, cool, there's this fun Elseworlds way to look at these characters of kind of revering them a bit more and being more afraid of them than we are accepting of them. And I think that's kind of the shame, is that they've almost come around in the wrong order.
Yeah.
And that maybe fandom wouldn't quite be in the position it was in now if it happened the other way around. But here we are.
I agree. But did you see Zack Snyder posted about it?
Has he?
He literally posted, "There's no point in my universe coming back. Like this has the star." That was literally his quote. He posted the poster, the picture of the poster, and then just said that.
Wow.
I really hope Henry posts something.
Yeah, me too.
I hope so. I would love to see, because look, I said we saw this before David Cornstarch was a thing. Like whether you like how the movies were written, Henry Cavill himself, he gets what Superman is. Like he gets what Superman should represent. I would love. I mean, I would love if we still got that now. If we got a continuation of that more philosophical exploration of the God Man as an Elseworld story. And
yeah,
James Gunn and Zack Snyder are good friends. They did their first movie together, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. I think it could really work. This trailer really, really got me on board. again, I wasn't not on board. I wasn't ready to be won over. I'm just glad the trailer really did win me over.
hmm
Any other thoughts? Any other theories, questions, gents? Before we move on
Did
to
you
the
guys know Gorilla? Did you guys notice Gorilla Grodd is on the newspaper?
We were
before
just
the
talking about this
show?
right before you jumped on the call. So
Yeah.
I was just saying I'm really interested by this because obviously he is in this week's Creature Commandos. We get a glimpse of him, and in that scenario, he's potentially hanging around in Eastern Europe in Pakistan, and Barovia, which is the country where he seems to be in this, is in the comics is somewhere very very nearby. They're both kind of Eastern European type nations. So I'm sort of wondering what Gorilla Grodd is doing hanging around Eastern Europe, stirring up political trouble.
Can I throw something out?
Go.
I think the opening action scene is with Gorilla Grodd and Superman.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
I think not saying that he'll defeat him, but I think whatever Gorilla Grodd is doing,
Yeah.
which would be so cool because I love
That's why
that
Superman
character
gets
so
late
much.
to work in that one shot.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then maybe what's the Lantern's name and Hot Girl and maybe that team.
Guy Gardner.
Guy Gardner,
Yeah.
yeah.
Talk to a girl.
Maybe that team shows up to finish out the job. They arrest Gorilla Grodd for now, do whatever because we obviously know he'll come back. But
Maybe.
that's what I'm thinking.
I'm interested to know what they're calling that team as well, because obviously they're sponsored by Lord Tech, and that's the uniforms that they're wearing. This kind of black and gold is all Lord Tech sponsored, and that's why they've got this kind of corporate uniform. But they are very much Justice League International characters from the comics. I'm kind of interested to know if they are the JLI and what that could mean.
Yeah. Do we think we get any cameos, any appearances from any other heroes? Obviously, besides Supergirl, we're already expecting her at some point, somehow, maybe just the mid or post credits. But do we think we get any others? Because our Green Lanterns have been cast. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll get someone who we don't know has been cast and just shows up. You brought up Gorilla Grodd, Zach, who is famously not a Superman villain, but a Flash villain. Could we get
Which Wally West is
Wally West?
Barry
Allen is still the best Flash, but anyway.
I don't think so, if I'm being honest. I don't think we have that bigger one, but I could be wrong. I think Gorilla is CGI and you can hide that as a secret that he's in the movie. But in terms of anyone else, I think it would have
just see a blur.
Yeah,
that's true.
A red and gold blur.
That's true.
So at the Q&A that I was at, James Gunn was very considered in everything that he said, and they were choosing questions quite carefully as well, because they obviously didn't want to. They very much wanted us to talk about the trailer and how excited we were for the trailer and how excited that would make us for the film, rather than being like, "So what's next? Like, tell me about the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing." But he talked about post-credit scenes, and he talked about how each film in the DCU should and will potentially set up other stuff. And he said, if there is anything in any of these films that is setting up something to happen elsewhere, it's only because it also has narrative reasons to be in this title. So he said, if anything in Superman sets up lanterns, which he said there might be a little bit in there, he said that is because it has a reason to be in Superman. It's not, you're not going to see the lanterns because we want to be like, hey, there's a lantern show coming. It's because there's a reason for them to be here. So I think they're going to be very restrained, at least for now, in what we see, unless they can really try and fit it into the story they're trying to tell.
Yep.
I really liked what he said in one of the interviews this week, how this is not the MCU. We're not building up towards a Thanos. Yeah. This is our Star Wars universe, where everything takes place in the same universe, but it doesn't mean everything's going to connect.
Yeah, and that's why I think there might be a passing reference to the Themysciran political group, Sons of Themyscira. I couldn't think what it was called for a second. Like, I can see there being a news story somewhere that talks, like, references the Battle of the Sons of Themyscira from Creature Commandos, and that being it. Like, you don't need to see them, we don't need to go there, but a passing reference.
I mean, Rick Flex Sr. is in the film. We know that. So
yep. Exactly. So maybe he's like, I've just been on this really weird ass mission with Amanda Waller, and it's just a passing phrase of dialogue somewhere that just acknowledges that there's a wider universe out there. I do love how much you feel like this is a really fun. I mean, I said this to you, Ren, didn't I? When I first watched Creature Commandos, I was like, scene 1, episode 1. I feel like I already know a lot about James Gunn's DCU, and this again, I feel like is a really well-established world straight away. I'm not even questioning that there's no origin story here. I just feel like, cool, yeah, we're in. Metahumans exist. People know they exist. There is a Superman. It just is accepted as fact.
Yeah, I like that too. I like when a universe already feels lived in.
Yeah.
And so that's why I don't have so many people right now seem to have a problem with. There's maybe too many superheroes in this film. No, it's a world that already exists. Like, allow the film to build that out, to flesh out everything. And if by the end of the film you have an issue with it, that's more than fair. Let's wait to see the actual film and see if it has problems
Yeah.
with the but. I wouldn't even say it's abundance. There's 3 more superheroes. Like, this isn't an X-Men movie. This isn't an Avengers movie. This isn't the Suicide Squad movie. Like, James Gunn was able to balance 16 characters in the Suicide Squad or wherever. Like, we're doing okay. We're doing okay. All right, everyone. And from there, we're going to start the Q&A portion, and we have our first super chat from LFB Billing. Hey Ren, it's me. It's Tony Movie Chappie. For some reason, my other YouTube account is not showing you guys my words that I type in the chat. I don't know what that's about. I didn't do anything.
I already looked. He's not banned or blocked or anything, so I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's just his account.
I was going.
His account might. I will say, if you've been chatting a lot lately, there might be a chance that your account's just marked as spam from YouTube. So, might be.
I didn't do anything. Honestly, is it just click? Okay. Put user timeout, ban user. Yeah, I didn't do any of that. I was gonna say maybe if any of the moderators did that, but Aaron isn't here. Eric Thorpe didn't do anything. I'm sure GGOEP already talked to him. Didn't do anything because he just messaged me on Instagram about it. I just saw it. So I don't know what to do about that. I'm really sorry that happened. You're one of the biggest supporters. You're one of the longest running fans and supporters of the show. So
maybe Chappie finally got to you.
It's Brainiac. Brainiac is behind all of this. Now it makes sense. So I'm really sorry that happened. It's just there's nothing I can do because I haven't done anything because I didn't even know this was happening. So I'm really sorry, Tony Movie Chappie. All right, going for the rest of the questions. The Master of Gaming. Do you think a Minecraft movie will make $1 billion worldwide? No,
I have a question to this. It will not make $1 billion.
No, I don't think so either.
But I think if the initial first trailer was fantastic, I think there was a high chance it would have. But because
isn't it like 15 years after Minecraft was popular?
Still one of the highest played games ever. For kids, yeah. Like all my cousins, like all their kids are about like 5 to like 10. All of them play Minecraft. When I see them, they want to play Minecraft. It's either Minecraft or Fortnite with them. Like that's what they want. Or Roblox. I don't know what that is. So
I know the name, but I couldn't tell you what it is.
So I think it would have made $1 billion, obviously 15 years ago. But if that first trailer was great, now to Transformers 1 effect, where even if the movie's amazing, your movie potentially could still make money, but not a lot.
Yeah, I don't think Minecraft will flop, but it certainly will.
The second trailer was better.
I mean, being covered up by shit up to your knees is better than being covered up to shit till your neck. So sure, it's better. Neil, what do you think? Do you think it makes $1 billion?
No. I've not seen the second trailer. I've only seen the first one, and I have never played the game, so I know very little about this as a franchise. But it did not strike me as a film that was going to resonate too well.
Yeah, I just don't think going live action with it was even a wise choice because
I think that was the way.
It just looks.
I played it. I played a shit ton of it back in the day. So
Zach, don't swear.
Fuck.
It's gonna be his first word.
I'll blame his mom.
All right. Next up, Master of Gaming also asks, do you think Mortal Kombat 2 will do better than the first one theatrically and
Ooh.
financially? Let me answer this question two ways. First, I really want it to do better financially and
Yeah.
and critically. I think it could. I think there's a good chance. I think it's too early to predict if it'll do better financially and critically, honestly, just because we haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
And was it badly received critically? I thought it was like lukewarm.
It was like mid.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
mid.
I was the guy who enjoyed it the most.
I know
I
someone
loved it.
who's seen it. I know someone who's seen this
Oh,
at a test
and?
screening.
Oh.
Financially, I think it'll do better.
Okay. Yeah, because this time it won't go on Max. So financially,
Yeah.
it has all the momentum to do better.
Critically, they didn't. Test screening could be completely different. They were very disappointed in it. Very. And they liked the last one.
Do we actually have a tournament this time?
I didn't ask him anything like that. I can text him and see. I didn't care to know. I just was like, good or bad. And
That's okay.
There are some plot spoilers out, I think. I'm sure I've seen some write-ups of what the potential plot is from test screening.
I think the tournament is in it.
That was my biggest issue with the first one is we don't have actual Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. So I mean, hopefully, because apparently they're going back for reshoots. So hopefully the reshoots.
Oh, interesting.
The thing that disappoints me.
Raven also went back for reshoots.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing that disappoints me is that the director they have is a newbie, and like that's fine, that's okay.
The first one was like, also a newbie, right?
It's the same director. It's the same director.
Okay.
So it's like for me, it's like hire someone. I mean, again, I don't know this guy personally and everything, but like, you know what disappoints me? The guys who just directed Talk to Me made a better Mortal Kombat film on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. It's literally they remade all the fatalities.
I've never seen it, but you've told me about this.
I've heard of it, yeah.
To me.
And when they got announced to do Street Fighter, which they're obviously not doing anymore, I was like, hire them for Mortal Kombat 2. Oh my God.
Perfect. Good question from my good friend from George at Cinema Savvy. I don't think so.
No.
As much as I do prefer Mortal Kombat to Karate Kid, I don't think there's
that Karate Kid movie is going to make so much money.
Do you think?
Because you have my parents who grew up with the original. And then you have me that I was at that perfect ecosphere where I saw the remake as like pretty young. And I loved it.
Was Karate Kid
it's not as good as the original,
a box office like juggernaut?
No, but Cobra Kai I think has changed that.
Okay, yes. I was gonna ask I'm curious about the Cobra Kai effect of it.
So
I think it depends on Cobra Kai ends too.
Speaking as someone who is slightly older, I do remember. I couldn't actually tell you what year Karate Kid came out, but I do remember some of the kind of zeitgeistiness of it. And I remember when I was a kid, everyone loved this movie. Like it was on TV a lot here when I was a kid, and it was like, oh, Karate Kid's on, everyone has to watch it, and it was very zeitgeisty. Which, I think will work in its favor generationally. You are going to get so many different ages that are going to be excited to see it cross over.
Mm-hmm.
Is it March that it comes out, or is it like summer?
I think it's March.
March, yeah, best month of the year.
Well, actually, it might have gotten pushed back.
Oh, okay.
Because of Cobra May. It's May now. It was originally March. I think Cobra Kai ends in March, though.
Doesn't it? Isn't the part 3 in January?
Maybe. I don't know. It's the final part. If it is January, then it is the final.
I think it might be January because I think our friend Leo might have seen it already, or might have gotten the screeners at least. Because he loves doing Cobra Kai and he's doing very well with Cobra Kai over there on Geekly Goods. Go check him out if you haven't.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next question. Master of Gaming, do you think James Gunn's Superman will be DC's comeback at the box office after a string of flops in 2023 and 2024?
Yeah, 100%.
Did DC have a string of flops in 2024?
Yes. Yeah.
Did they have? Joker. Yeah, that's not a string of flops. That's one flop.
But it continues, I think.
I know.
That's
do not hurt my soul.
Do I think Superman will do good? As of right now, yes. Here's the thing, though. We just put it into context. Like, the DCU had one or two bright spots with financially speaking, with Wonder Woman and the first Aquaman. That's it, unfortunately, for better or worse. And as much as I love Man of Steel, didn't do great. Superman Returns didn't do great. Superman, box office wise, has never been like the
Except the
popular
first Reeves. The first Reeves
obviously,
film.
yes.
Yeah.
In the 70s.
Dude, adjusted for inflation, that movie made so much money. I was looking at that the other day.
But you have to take if you're taking
Yeah.
the inflation variable into account, there's so many others you have to take.
Yeah.
But yes, obviously the first ever movie because in the 70s, people valued different things. People saw that value in Superman that has kind of unfortunately become diminished over the decades. So I think will it do well? Yes. Will it do better than the Aquamans, the Joker Folia dues, all that? Yes. Do I think it's going to hit $1 billion? Too early to tell. Not to say no, not to say yes. I'm being very conservative, for lack of a better term, with this. But I think it can be that comeback. I think it can be a little bit of a comeback. But at the same time, I also think James Gunn and Peter Safran, they're not counting it on being immediately a box office juggernaut.
They want the critical and audience reception.
Yes, exactly. And obviously, they want to make a profit. But
I think if this movie just breaks even, but it's like across the board, everyone's like, "I love this."
Over under 600.
Over.
Right now, I'm gonna say 500 million, like around 500 million.
I was going to say 7.
I'm going with Neil over 600, but now second question, over under 700.
So that's what I was gonna say. If this keeps continuing, I think over 700. Over 700.
I'll tell you the reason why I don't go over 700, because of everything we've been talking about when we were talking about the trailer, where we all know Twitter is a bubble. For better or worse, yep. Twitter is a bubble. You just said you got to work. 2 people knew the trailer was out. So at least as of right now, and look, this was just the first trailer. The marketing has just started. Yeah. Who knows where the awareness will be by the time the film does come out. I hope it goes up. As of right now, again, it's that thing where people are not super aware, and people have the association when they hear and see the DC logo. They're like, okay, let's look back at the last few things. We have Joker Folia Do, which again, as per me, is good. They have
my mother-in-law loved Joker too. Yes. Loved it. I told her to watch Conclave, and she said it was boring.
Not that I want to root for
watch Joker 2 instead.
So. There you go. She should have watched Conclave though.
No. She didn't like it. She thought it was awful.
No, that's tragic.
You've got James Gunn out there today as well, saying that this is the biggest trailer launch in DC and Warner Brothers history, with this 250 million views that they're talking about. Which is, I mean, that's the spark lit. They just have to kind of capitalize on it and keep that momentum running for the next 8 months without giving too much away.
That marketing out there. Put the billboards already out in Burbank. All right. Master of Gaming also asks, which horror movie... Oh, no. I skipped one. There we go. We were going back one. Which horror movie revival will do better at the box office? Final Destination, Bloodlines, or I Know What You Did Last Summer? Final Destination. Easy. This was a franchise that did pretty well because it didn't cost much. Up until 2011 when they released the last and best one of them all. So I think there's more of an awareness to it. Zach?
Absolutely Final Destination. I think I Know What You Did Last Summer will do good. Mm-hmm. But there's not much to tell on that yet. But I will say, I know 2 people who have seen Final Destination and they said it is hands down the best one and the goriest one, like in almost every way. And it was done. The movie was fully done.
So can I ask you, is Tony Todd in this one?
Yes. I think it's been announced that he is. If not,
I must have missed it.
I'm pretty sure it was announced.
I just remember then when he passed like a month ago or so. I was like,
I forgot to ask you, did you know that he's in the Indiana Jones game?
He is?
Yeah, he's one of the main characters. Yeah.
Is he a villain? Tell me he's a villain. He's got
yeah. He's a villain.
Okay.
But he
Neil,
has the thing I like about his villain character. There's a bigger side to it.
Okay. I like
that you start to find out. So by the end of the game, I really loved what they had done with his character.
Mm-hmm. Neil, what do you think does better?
Yeah, I would love to say I know what you did last summer because I love that franchise, but
Same.
yeah, it will be Final Destination for sure. There's only so much that you can do with bringing back. I mean, I know what you did 28 years ago in summer. I'm kind of struggling to wrap my head around what you can.
I cannot wait for that.
I know what you did that one summer.
Yeah. So we'll see.
All right, Master of Gaming. Last question from him or from her. I don't know. Which MCU film do you think will do better financially next year? Thunderbolts or Captain America: Brave New World? Zach, I want to hear what you think before I answer.
As of right now, Captain America will do better.
Okay.
Let me wait until they do Sentry, like actually revealed in the trailer. I think that's gonna be. And then I'll also say this: if Captain America does great, Thunderbolts will do amazing.
Yeah. Neil?
Yeah, I think the Captain America name will carry that film a little bit more than Thunderbolts. I think Thunderbolts is probably not well enough known that people are not quite sold on it yet from what they've seen. And I guess there's a slight Suicide Squad vibe just in that putting together a bunch of characters who are not great. And maybe that has some associations to people, even though it's obviously Marvel DC. I wonder whether people will look at it and think, oh, okay, team of people who were kind of bad, but kind of good at the same time. I'm not sure. So I think it's very much going to go to Captain America.
I'm actually going to go the other way. Not that I think Captain America will do badly, but I think number one, Thunderbolts comes out at a better date where that date always does well. Whether we're talking Marvel exclusively or not, just that start of the summer area time period is so good for box office, generally speaking, obviously. Also, Florence Pugh. The people love Florence Pugh.
That's very true.
But again, Captain America 4 does have the Captain America title going for it. It does have the star power with Harrison Ford and all that.
Very much.
So I think they're both going to do good. I think Thunderbolts has the slight leg up, especially because, like Zach said, if Captain America does well, Thunderbolts is going to do even better than it was already going to do.
It could renew some people's faith in the MCU maybe a little bit. And as much as I want Fantastic Four to be amazing and do really well, that whole 3-week period where it's like Superman, Jurassic World, Fantastic Four is just going to be a bit too busy for people, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be busy for us with the screenings all at the same time. I wonder if we're going to have to choose because some of them land on the same day. I mean, I know what I'm going to choose. I know what you're going to choose if we have to choose, but still, I hope we don't have to choose. That's my point.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Eric Thorpe. Thoughts on the Broccolis calling Amazon fucking idiots? I love it personally. For wanting to milk the Bond franchise for money, making spin-offs rather than trusting in their tried and true formula of a 60-year franchise by focusing on making each film an event. Here's what I will say, because we don't know the conversations they have, so I don't have any specifics. I didn't see any specifics why Amazon are supposedly fucking idiots. Not that I disagree, but to be fair, but if I was in possession of a franchise, guess what? I'm gonna milk that franchise. Is it a smart strategy to like get the Bond franchise and start my era of taking over the franchise with spin-offs instead of actually doing a Bond film? No, I don't. But again, I just don't have enough context to like lean one way or another. As history has shown us, the Broccolis know how to handle Bond, so I have no reason to trust them either. I just don't want to speak ill of Amazon or side with Amazon when I don't have enough context personally. What about you, Neil?
Yeah, I'm sure the Broccolis themselves have talked about spin-offs in the past as well. and feel free to correct me, anyone, on that one. But I can remember when The World Is Not Enough. Sorry, Die Another Day came out. There was talk of a Jinx spin-off for Halle Berry. And that could just be tabloid rumors from back then. But there has definitely been talk about kind of spin-off ideas before. And I think you would be kind of foolish not to explore whether there are stories worth telling. But what I think would be the wrong move would be to make spin-offs if there aren't stories worth telling. So I think it's an intelligent conversation to have, and it's an intelligent question to ask. Is there a way that this works? I mean, there was lots of talk about Lashana Lynch's character from the last film potentially having her own film as well, because she was a great character and she had so much presence on screen. But if there isn't a story worth telling, don't do it. But have the conversation is what I think.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of Lashana Lynch, she's great in The Day of the Jackal. If you're not watching that,
I need to watch that.
Yeah, I think it's on Peacock in the States.
Yeah.
And obviously in the UK, it's a Sky show. Very, very good. Just got renewed for a second season. Yes.
Excellent.
Give Ana de Armas her spinoff.
Yes, Paloma.
Yes.
I would love to see that. I mean, she's gonna have her own
Arena
franchise next year. So yeah. Eric Thorpe also asks, do you think Aaron Taylor Johnson is still the front runner for Bond? All I'm gonna say is, last I asked about it, yes. But that's all I can say. Do you want to add anything, Neil?
I can add something. Sorry,
everything I hear is absolutely yes, it is. So go for it, Zach.
I heard no.
Do you have?
The tide is turning.
Were you told of someone else's front runner, or were you just told he's not the front runner and that's it?
I was told he wasn't the front runner anymore, and Craven may have been a part of that.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if there was a kind of question mark over how bankable he was, which is a shame.
It is. It is, because I don't blame any of the actors in that film. Though I'm gonna talk about one of the actors in that film. Because Geek OBP has asked a very interesting question coming up in this Q&A section. Geek OBP, first question: do you think if Superman is a success, that it will not only benefit DC but also Marvel, causing them to look at the success and influence them to put out better content like friendly competition? 100%. Like, DC has never done bad. Like, for example, the DCEU never did badly or underperformed is the better way to put it, because Marvel was doing well. Like, these movies don't hurt each other. These franchises, these studios don't hurt each other by doing well. If anything, Wonder Woman 2017, it came out when Marvel put out what, 4 or 5 movies in 2017 where they were banger after banger after banger, success after success after success. The biggest success that year was arguably Thor Ragnarok. Why? Because Zach and I met because I made a review for that film. And here we are 80 years later. Again, depressing how fast time moves. But yes, just because one winning doesn't mean the other has to automatically lose. One winning can mean that both win, and I think we should all want that. We should want all movies to win, because there is no sense in wanting a universe to fail when they've delivered so much goodness to all of us. Neil, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, same. I think that Marvel would be foolish not to look at it and think, okay, what are they doing right? And that's not to say that Marvel is doing anything wrong right now, but they must constantly be looking at each other and thinking, what is the other doing that we can be kind of taking inspiration from? And I'm sure Gunn and Feige are still, good enough friends.
Yeah, they're friends.
And lest we not forget that Feige came up on Dick Donner's Superman set as well. So they have always had a great relationship in that respect of looking at what each other is doing and trying to take inspiration from it. So no, I think Marvel will be looking at how Superman does, and I think
he wants it to succeed. I mean, everything works for one another, and I think the whole question of will this kick Marvel in its butt to put out better content? Yeah, for sure. But I think Marvel already is doing that right now. I think after Cap, depending on how Cap turns out, I think they're really trying to turn the ship on that. Yeah. But I think Thunderbolts and on I think we're going to see something different, more quality over quantity. In terms of the shows, let's wait till I don't even know, anything past Ironheart. I think is a safe thing to assume that they kind of have something figured out. But for me, yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm just excited to see another bubble of things, and I hope DC in the weird end of it all is that next big thing.
Yeah.
Like Marvel was it, Star Wars it was it. DC for me has never been it, so it'd be cool to see it now finally be it.
Yeah. Could not agree more.
100%. Here we go. GKP. Who's a critically acclaimed actor that you don't think can act?
Myself.
I've been looking forward to this one because I'm gonna need some hot takes if you have any, gentlemen. Not that I can think of a critically acclaimed
Daniel
actor.
Day-Lewis.
No, you don't think that. I can't
Yes, I
even
do.
see your face, and I know you're joking.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't. I know you too well, Zachariah.
No, I'm being serious. Overrated actor. Ask me to name my top 10. He would not be in it. He wouldn't even be in my top 20.
No, it's one thing for you to think he's overrated. It's another
Yeah,
thing to
very overrated.
think
Every
he
performance.
act.
Every performance he's ever done.
I genuinely
No.
can't think of a critically
good.
acclaimed one, but I'll tell you right now. I mean, I'm basically known for having this opinion, but I've always been of the Paul Mescal. Like, Good.
Gladiator
and he's
turned
critically
me.
acclaimed, but
Gladiator turned me. That and all
that's
the
the thing. I
strangers.
don't think he can't act. I've just been looking at him and I'm like, he's fine. Then all of us strangers started turning me around, and then I thought he was good in Gladiator. Harris Dickinson is another one that I'm like, and even less so than Paul Mescal. Like Paul Mescal, I can see what people see, I just don't see it myself. Or rather, I get what people see, I just don't see it myself. I think you. Do you have an idea, Neil? You look like you.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a really tough question. They're just...
Or forget about the critically acclaimed part. Even if there's just an actor that you're like,
Do you know what? I've never really been a fan of Tom Cruise. Yeah,
that's a hot take. All right.
I don't know what. I've nenever ever been able to put my finger on it.
That actually wasn't the name I thought you were going to say, because I know one actor that
I have one.
See the
I have one.
The spark in that we've discussed
I have one
before.
But
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoy Mission Impossible, but I don't know what it is. Something about Tom Cruise, I'm just not a fan of.
All right, that's fair enough. Zach?
Okay, I have one. I think they are an incredible actress, though. It's just sometimes I just don't care. Like I don't get excited for projects that they're in or anything like that. Okay. This is gonna be blasphemy for some people. Nicole Kidman. I think she's a good actress, but sometimes like I think Baby Girl, right? That's the movie's title. I've really come to the conclusion that like I try and get excited for her projects, and then I watch them. I'm just like, like she's good, and I know that she has some amazing performances, such as Destroyer. But even Destroyer, again, I think the movie's just fine.
I've just always fine. Really wanted to see it. You know what? Like again, I don't think this person can't act, but I've always been of the thought where this person has been nominated for Oscars, and he's kind of grown on me in recent years, but still he's very much at that level where I can take him or leave him. George Clooney. George Clooney has always been like, he has a presence, he's a good-looking man, don't get me wrong, but just always one of those actors that, sure, he has the looks, but I thought you were going to go with your classic Millie Bobby Brown, Neil.
I would, but I wouldn't say that Millie Bobby Brown is critically acclaimed in any way, shape, or form.
That's
I think she's just annoying.
That's the thing. Even though I don't agree, I can totally see why you get that feeling from her.
When you've been at a screening and she is literally just running around in circles, bouncing off the walls, being like, "Hey, I'm the center of attention," you will begin to understand my feelings.
What was the screening for? I don't
Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that movie.
I mean, you kind of have to forgive her. She was a kid.
That movie is amazing.
Here it is, Zach joking again.
No. Go watch my ranking. It's my number one out of
King
the
of
monsters. Yeah, it's my number one. I love that movie.
All
right.
All right. Jico EP is gonna ask us a music question. Wanted to know what are your guys' thoughts on From Zero by Linkin Park, since I know you guys are fans.
Ooh.
Wasn't crazy
Is
about
this
it
the new
personally, but I
album?
thought it was a bit uninspired, but that's just me. I really enjoyed it. I can't say it's one I've gone repeatedly back to, but it's got some really good bangers in there. I think long term, um, and let's face it, because it was the first song back, we're gonna always be talking about Emptiness Machine. We're that song will have cultural status for the rest of our existence. Um,
This is the best one.
I
Some of the new
think
stuff
I
that
prefer
I've
Heavy
heard.
as
I
the
haven't
Crown.
heard the whole thing, so I
I
don't.
think I prefer Heavy as the Crown. Casualty is high up there for me. Where the good things go, or where the bad things go. I don't even remember if it's the good or the bad things, but it's like the last song of the album. I really like those ones. Again, maybe now I've had a lot of separation from it. I'll go back to it and I'll be like, oh no, wait, this is their best album ever. I'm sure I won't think that, but just it's possible. So who knows? Neil, I know you were also a lot into it.
Yeah, I've been playing it a lot actually. I was listening to it just not that long ago. It's interesting. I do really enjoy it as an album, and I prefer it to some of their most recent before Chester passed. So like Hunting Party and stuff like that. I feel like this is a better album than a couple of those ones towards the end of Linkin Park version 1. I do think there are a couple of songs on it where you're like, oh, okay, this is the new version of Classic, which I get because they must have been nervous doing this. Like they have to have been really nervous doing this and coming back. But I really enjoy it. I think it's a great album to listen to. Like who actually listens to albums that much anymore, like start to finish?
Yeah.
But I actually keep listening to this album as an album, as one whole thing, and it's pretty consistent all the way through, which I like.
Kind of makes me very curious as to what the next album will be like. Where they
Yeah,
kind of
I feel like it
can't
will be
feel-
more experimental again from here now that they're comfortable and know that there's an audience out there for it.
Yeah, I agree. Zach, have you listened to it?
No, I haven't listened to the full thing yet.
You have been busy, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
All right. GQP says it's almost the end of the year, fellas, and it's Christmas season. So, what in your eyes is the most overrated and underrated Christmas movie? This is a good question. I will tell you right now, underrated still Klaus. Klaus is a super underrated Christmas
Terrible film. Boring.
movie. No, it's
Yes, it is. This is the Netflix one, right?
the beautifully animated.
Overrated. That's so it's the most overrated one. There
I
you go.
don't believe you.
I do.
Also underrated because it's coming around on most people, but most people still are of the wrong belief that it's a bad Christmas movie. Jingle All the Way. It has
Jingle All the Way is
aged
amazing.
beautifully.
Brilliant film.
Um,
Definitely underrated.
Those are the two that come to mind. I can't remember any overrated ones as of now. So Neil, what do you have any picks?
Overrated. I've never been a massive fan of Miracle on 34th Street, any version of it. I find it just quite flat.
I've never seen any of them. So
And underrated, I'm going to say everyone sleeps on the fact that Batman Returns is a Christmas movie, and that should be on the top of anyone's Christmas movie watch list.
that's fair. That's
Period.
True. I remembered another underrated one because it also gets too much hate. Last Christmas. I adore that.
I love that movie.
So good.
I have another underrated one, The Night Before, with Seth Rogen
Night Before
and
so good.
Anthony Mackie and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Ever since I saw that in theaters, every year I have to watch it at least twice during Christmas season. It's just so fun. And Four Christmases with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon. It is trashy and it's fun, and I love it. I'll watch it every year.
Do I want to say this? Okay.
Yes,
Nobody Punch Me. I think it's slightly. I think it's a good movie. Really enjoyed it. I just wouldn't put it in like the top 5. I wouldn't even put it in the top 10. Elf.
You're fucking crazy.
Don't like it, so I'm fine with that.
Crazy.
I'm not alone. I mean,
Oh,
I do like.
yeah.
It.
There is an actor who people like that I don't like, Will Ferrell.
Oh, there you go.
Fair enough. I mean, I think a lot of people are starting not to like.
What did you
anymore,
think
but...
of Spirited? If you saw
See, I think, yeah, I'm all right on Spirited. I can stomach him when he's in more of an ensemble and is not sole lead. When he's sole lead, I'm just like, get out of my face. Like,
So Step Brothers is not your cup of tea.
No, just like dial it down just a touch for me, please.
I do love Step Brothers, to be fair.
I went through a Will Ferrell marathon. Like I would wake up and work out for an hour and a half, and most of
Did
his
you ever
films are
go
about
through
an
a
hour
Will
and a
Ferrell
half.
marathon, Neil?
So, dude, it was fun. It was fun.
I would love to have another. Oh no! Forget about Alf. Forget about Alf, because I hate this movie. Everyone somehow loves this movie. I think Zach loves this film. I'm not sure what Neil feels about it, but I'm willing to bet you love it as well, because 99% of people. The live action Jim Carrey starring How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Oh, you're crazy.
Horrible. I hate
So
that
good.
so much.
So good. So good.
It's
you know what's funny? I didn't
terrible.
grow up with it. I did not like it growing up.
I
just
did.
thought it was okay. Oh, did you? I'm the opposite. I liked it more as right now.
I liked it as a kid, to be fair, and then I watched it as an adult. I'm like, this completely misses the point of the book. Like, I side with the Grinch that whole film. I hate the Who's in that film. I would love for the Grinch to just go with.
So you like the animated Illumination one more?
Do I like it more? Sure. Just on the basis that I don't like the live action one at all, and I can stomach the Illumination one at all.
Fair enough.
Okay, there's people who don't like this film, apparently, according to Geek OVP. Good. More people should not like this film.
Paddington should have a Christmas movie.
Paddington is a Christmas movie.
No, but I know, but they should have one that just dedicatedly takes place during Christmas. Like, why is he going to Peru?
I agree. Also, I just realized I recently realized that Paddington in Peru doesn't come out in the States until February. Or
I was gonna tell you, why did you not review it?
Because I didn't realize it until like this past week, and I was like, oh,
let me tell you right now. Anytime you get a Paddington film in the UK, we don't get it till like 4 months.
No,
later.
I know it. That's what happened last time because
Yeah.
I still wasn't living in London. I went to London around Christmas time, and I caught specifically movies that I wouldn't get until next year. One of them was Paddington 2. And only after reviewing it, I was like, Americans don't get this movie until 2018, which was what made me very annoyed that everyone in 2018 was like, in my top 10 movies of the year, Paddington 2. It's 2017. It's not 2018 movie.
Paddington in Peru will be in my top 10 of next year.
Having seen it, I don't know if it will, but we'll talk about
it.
Well,
no. I'm going to just make it so that way.
Oh, you're okay.
Just
to annoy
specifically.
Fair.
Yes. Just
this is like our conversation about how Nosferatu is my favorite movie of 2025.
Yeah, exactly. Where am I? Let me. Oh, here we go. GKP, when do you think we'll get a Fantastic Four trailer, and do you think it will move release dates to avoid Superman's box office run in July? Like we were talking about, I still think if anything should move, it's Jurassic World.
Yeah.
No.
Outside of that, if anything should move between Fantastic Four and Superman, it's Superman just to be safe. And I'm not even saying move from, I don't know, July to December. Though at this point, they just put the trailer out. I don't think they are going to move.
No.
And I don't think Fantastic Four is going to move. So it really should be Jurassic World that moves outside that date.
Fantastic Four's not going to move because they're going to want it because
they want that summer.
Exactly, and they want it out the same weekend of Comic-Con so that they can repeat the success of the Deadpool Wolverine screening that they did this year, because it is literally that same weekend. So they're going to want to do that all over again.
Yeah.
It's so tough. I don't think any of them move. I think they all hold spot, but I think Fantastic
I don't think
Four
any of them move either. I'm just saying if
I personally think Fantastic Four should move to November, where Blade was supposed to be. It's a family film. Thanksgiving, all that stuff.
We're not getting anything in November, but we're getting a show in November, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the shows.
Fuck the show. They can move it. It's probably Ironheart.
I think
Ironheart is June.
Summer.
Okay.
It's right before Fantastic Four.
Still, fuck it. Oh no! You know what comes out in the fall? It's the Marvel Zombies.
Finally.
Put Fantastic Four in November. And I say this as someone, when I saw that footage at Comic-Con, my mind was like, holy fuck, this went from I don't really mind, I don't know, to my most anticipated project that they're doing. Like, so it's tough. It's a weird year. It's a very heavy year, but yeah.
When do we think they will release a trailer?
Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I-
that makes sense.
I think they're gonna give us a little Christmas present next week.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really hope so.
That's what I'm thinking.
I could see
That's
them
how I-
releasing what they showed at Comic-Con publicly.
Oh
I know
yeah,
it's been leaked
I
and
don't think
stuff.
they're releasing anything new. I think if they're releasing anything, it is what they showed at Comic Con, just like they did with Thunderbolts.
Yeah, we could also see maybe them sitting in that room from the concept concept picture of them with Santa hats on instead.
Yeah.
Saying, "Hope you guys
Yes!
have a great holiday," and then
Yeah.
Herbie rolls out because I think Herbie is also real. I think it's,
But also
I don't
to
think it's all
support
CGI.
your Super Bowl theory, Super Bowl is around Valentine's Day, and
Yeah.
when they released that first poster this past year, Valentine's
Dude,
Day.
I remember I was walking into Marvel Land right when that poster went out, like at Disneyland. And
Uh-huh.
and I went to my wife. I'm like, "Holy shit, look at this!" And she goes, "That's not real." I was like, "It's fucking real." Like, what?
I woke up. I was on my way to Disneyland as well, and I was like, "Oh, wait, this is real! Oh my god!"
It's the Disney magic.
Exactly. They knew we were going to. They knew I was going to Disneyland, California for the first time, and they were like, "Boom, here you go."
There you go.
All right. So we got of the Marvel projects coming next year. What are you most excited for, and the one you're most skeptical towards? I mean, this is basically what we did for episode 100 of the show 2 weeks ago. Most excited, Fantastic Four, bar none. Most skeptical, Ironheart. And I went on a whole rant why I'm so against the show. I basically did it twice. I did it on our show 2 weeks ago, and I did it on Geekly Goods on the Assembled show. But I should shout out because it's actually a two-way tie for number one. Fantastic Four, Daredevil, Born Again.
Oh yeah.
Neil, what about you?
Yeah, if you're including TV, then I'm with you actually. I think most anticipated Fantastic Daredevil close behind. And yeah, Ironheart, I don't understand the point at this stage.
It doesn't help that it's been ready since they released Black Panther.
This is also worrying. I mean, I really want Marvel Zombies to be awesome because I love that comic book storyline, but it feels like that's just been sitting on a shelf somewhere for years. But it's more worrying that Ironheart is live action and it's just been sitting somewhere doing nothing for all this time.
I mean, it's the same thing as with Agatha, right? Agatha was like, "This is coming out way too long after."
But Agatha kind of surprised.
And it surprised everyone.
And I was like, "Oh, okay, the show is actually really good."
I've heard good things about Ironheart. I've heard good things about Ironheart.
I hope so. Like,
so,
I watched Agatha, liked Agatha. Do I still look back and think we didn't really need the show? Yes, I still think that, having enjoyed the show. So
I'm gonna be a little different.
Yeah, but maybe
than
I'll
you guys.
I'll be like, oh, Ironheart is the most necessary thing Marvel has ever done. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little different. Fantastic Four is my most excited. I've already said it, but skeptical wise, I'm actually gonna say Captain America. Now, I know someone who's seen it too. They really liked it. But then it's like I hear
who liked it apparently.
And him and his whole friend group liked it, but then there's this whole other group that apparently doesn't. I can't say anything without getting the spoilers, but what I'm skeptical on is the usage of what they're marketing. And I'll just leave it at that.
That's the thing. Everything we hear about the test screen is like, this movie sucks. So like, they're being very careful with the trailers then, because the trailers are both great.
Well, I'll just
okay.
That's going too far into territory.
We'll move
I know
on.
a lot. I know too much about that movie.
GoP, I remember Siskel and Ebert did the special on their show called Memo to the Academy, where they remind the Academy voters not to forget a certain actor or director in a category. What's a performance you wish would get nominated at the Oscars, but seems highly unlikely? For me, Chris Hemsworth in Furiosa for Best Supporting Actor. Academy, Timothée Chalamet in Dune Part 2. I know you're all head over heels for A Complete Unknown. I haven't seen
love that movie.
But like, this guy is on screen with Austin Butler, with Rebecca Ferguson, with Charlotte freaking Rampling, with Javier Bardem, with Christopher Walken, and he outshines them all. So please, let's make sure he gets some love. Also, I don't think this is a performance they would quote unquote forget. It's just a performance they will disregard. But Hugh Grant in Heretic, one of the best films of the year.
I think there's a chance he gets nominated. Honestly, and I haven't seen it yet still, but I really think there's a chance.
I so hope you're right. He so deserves it. He's so good in this film. So yeah. Also Zendaya in both Dune Part 2 and Challengers, but honestly, Challengers is the best performance, the better performance.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any ones you'd like to shout
I have
out?
a couple. So number one, I would love to see a Bill Skarsgård nomination for Nosferatu.
Yes.
I think that'd be so fucking cool. It won't happen, but it should. Chris Hemsworth has mentioned Timothy Chalamet and Dune, but honestly, I would love Javier Bardem to get a Best Supporting Actor nomination.
I agree.
For Dune 2. I think he was so good in it. Like him and Austin Butler, but that was the performance that it really took away from. And Glenn Powell for Hitman.
I mean, I've said so many times how much I love that film since 2023. Since September 2023, I've been shouting about my love for Hitman. And yeah, I would be elated to see him nominated. It won't happen though.
Real fast for Best Animated, please Transformers 1.
I'm
sorry, but Transformers 1 should be nominated.
Has no
it doesn't
chance
need to
of
win.
winning. I wouldn't give it
Wild
the
Robot
award,
should
but
win.
damn, I would love to see a nomination.
Yeah.
Neil, do you have any performances?
I'm just looking at my Letterboxd for this year and thinking, are there any performances? Do you know what? From a pure fanboy perspective, just throw me in Michael Keaton for Beetlejuice.
Fair enough.
Because I love him in that character.
He did not lose a step from in between movies. I will say that much. I love that shout. Love that shout. GKP, with Craven being another box office and critical flop. No, it's not another box office flop. It's the worst. It opened opening weekend. It made $11 million. It is the worst superhero movie opening weekend since checks notes Punisher Warzone in 2008. That's how bad Craven. Actually, I just saw the news today, guys. After a week at the box office, it made $30 million worldwide. That's how terrible it's doing. Doing worse than Madam Web.
That which seems to me, and I have not seen Craven, but that just seems somewhat.
So you're
unfair.
the problem, is what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe Madam Web is the problem, that it's made me go, do you know what? I can't even be bothered to go and watch this, even though it has to be better.
Yeah, it is so much better. And I will say this: I was part of the problem for Madam Web. I didn't just contribute to the box office Madam Web. I contributed to the domestic box office of Madam Web.
I didn't see Madam Web in theaters.
Came out. The one movie I saw in America in my lifetime at AMC theaters was Madam Web. And yes, your commercials are way too long.
Way too fucking long.
All right. What are your stance about the concern from people Superman being too crowded with characters like Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific? We already basically covered this.
They're just characters. They're just characters in the movie. That's it.
It's 3 characters. We're doing fine, guys.
I think there's a distinction between when you've got like the big ensemble piece like the Suicide Squad, and when you've got a film like this where, yes, they are all characters from the comics, but they're there because they're characters from the comics, and this is a lived-in DC universe. So it's no different than just having a whole bunch of speaking parts. It's just that these speaking parts happen to be people that have got 40, 50, 60 years of comic book history behind them.
Absolutely. And I just noticed we're running overtime a bit, so we're going to address one more question. And if we missed any good questions, which we always do get great questions from you guys, do save them on a file or whatever. Save them from next week. Next week, we have the last show of 2024. Still don't know what we're going to do. We'll wait to see if something fantastic shows up on the internet, and we'll talk about that.
And when it doesn't show up, me and Ren will just sit here in silence for an hour.
Exactly. For an hour and a half. We'll do the Ryan Gosling eating cereal, but it's us, and it's for 90 minutes. All right, final question from our good friend Gico VP. I really want to answer this because I probably won't have time to do a video on this because I, for the second year in a row, failed at covering a lot of TV. What are your guys' favorite TV shows of the year? Zach, are you going to do a video on this, or do you want?
I am doing a video on this, so I will not say my number one, but
right.
I will say the most underrated one of the year is Presumed Innocence. It is an amazing series on Apple. Jake Gyllenhaal, Ruth Negga, both of them are fantastic, but Jake's performance in there is great. It is one of those great shows to watch with someone else, and just did he do it? Did he not? What is... And when you get to the very end of it and you find out that like what really happened, I felt so satisfied, but I instantly needed the next season right away, which apparently each season is going to be a different actor, which I don't know how I feel on that, but I love.
So is it an anthology show, or is the new?
No one knows yet. No one knows yet, because it's based off a book, which is also already was made into a movie with Harrison Ford back in the day.
Yeah.
That book has a sequel. I want them to do the sequel because the sequel seems interesting. So, okay. But time will tell. But I love that show, and I do not see enough people talking about it.
All right, Neil, what do you got? Do you have any shouts?
Yeah. It's kind of a bit of a joint one, I think, for me, between Penguin, which really surprised me. I was hoping it would be good. I was in that room in Hall H when people were sleeping through the panel, waiting for the Marvel panel that came afterwards. Maybe we were sat near each other.
We probably did. Dude, I was so excited for that panel, and I fell asleep. I was checked out. It was cool for like the first half, but...
I think I must have been the one person that was awake.
I remember being surprised at the time that they didn't show you the first episode.
Yeah, I swore that, and that's the only reason I kind of went. I didn't want to see anything else. I just was hoping to see Penguin.
So I think tie between Penguin and X-Men 97 for me.
And there it is. The best show of the year, bar none for me. X-Men 97. Shogun is.
I still not watch Shogun.
No one's coming. Nothing's coming close to this show, and then X-Men 97 dropped, and since when did it finish? March, April, whatever. Since April or March, nothing came close to surpass it. X-Men 97 is the best show of the year. It's one of the best things I've seen all year. I would put it above a lot of the movies that I saw this year. If I counted it as a movie, it would land my top 10, if not my top 5 for sure. Love this show. I've gone back to it so many times. It is bar none the best thing I saw on TV this year. But I also want to shout out a show that was canceled, and I didn't mind it too much despite loving it because it told its whole story. Came out at the beginning of the year. If you guys have not seen The Brother's Son on Netflix,
nah,
such a good show.
No, got canceled. I was the problem.
Yeah,
I refused to watch that show because you didn't watch Dark Crystal.
Fair, and everything. You know what? I was also part of the problem when Daredevil got canceled, but now it's back, baby. So I'm not part of the problem anymore. My guilt has gone away. But yeah, X-Men 97. If anything came close, it would be Shogun. And other than that, yeah, that's it. Shout out to Dark Matter. It's a really great show as well on Apple TV Plus. With Joel
I need to watch that. It looks so good.
It's great. It's such a good show. Very mature too. Very, very mature for like a sci-fi show. But yes, X-Men 97. We love you. You are perfect. No notes. Give me the second season in 2025, please. And that does it for this week's This Week in Geek episode 101. What are we gonna do for 102? I don't know. We'll see when we get there. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your awesome questions. Tony Movie Chappie, thank you so much for the support. I apologize about the whole situation. Just I didn't know that was happening. Neil, thank you so much for joining us. What do you got coming up on the site? Where can people find you?
Okay. We just dropped all our interviews from the Sonic 3 junket, which is huge. That's been awesome. We got to do some really cool interviews for that. That is our big thing. We just did we are like interview central right now, which is kind of weird. Thanks.
Sorry to put the pressure on you, but now you have to come back.
Like we just did the junket for Lord of the Rings for Rohirrim, which was really cool. So we have some interviews with the writer of that film, which is interesting to hear her insight. I've been doing a bunch of stuff with DC this month. I have a really cool interview dropping this week with Jeremy Adams, who's writing the new Aquaman book, which launches in January. Sweet. And it is, this book is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. John Tim's artwork is incredible.
Again? Sorry, I missed it.
Aquaman. So
Aquaman, yeah.
Jeremy Adams is taking over Aquaman. It's central to DC's all-in absolute universe storytelling,
They
but
should do
it's,
another
it's, a,
one with Aquaman.
it's a really cool story. Yeah, so getyourcomic.co.uk is where to find all of that good stuff.
And it's got a lot of good things coming to the site where I often write to. So go check out my words and the much better words of this gentleman right here, and so many others. Zach, what do you got coming up?
End of the year list, basically.
Same.
Starting next week. Well, after Christmas. I don't know which day I'm going to start, and then the week after that. End of the year list. Top 10 movies, maybe a top 10 worst. I'm still deciding if I want to do that or not. Top 10 underrated, ranking every video game I played this year, ranking every TV show I watched this year, and then ending on New Year's. Most
Every
anticipated
TV show,
films.
insane.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch that.
It's like 35 shows.
Whew.
So
I have my
and Shogun is not on there
Oh,
because I haven't seen it.
okay, fair enough. I got my Wild Robot review finally dropping. You guys said you were interested in my Anora review, so I'm dropping that. Still considering reviewing Saturday Night, which was a surprise film at this year's London Film Festival, as well as maybe A Real Pain, because I really want to talk about that film. Next week, we finally get Sonic 3. I'm sorry, everyone. The Sonic review is not late. It's just it's not getting released where I'm at until the 26th. So we got that. And then after that, best movies of the year, worst movies of the year, most anticipated movies of the year, and little shorts on the 5 best horror movies, maybe ranking all the comic book movies. You know what do you have to expect.
Is your Nosferatu one up already?
Yes, it just
Oh,
hit
okay.
1K views today. So
I must not have seen that it was up.
Bad
I
friend.
wanted to watch
You're
it.
a terrible, terrible friend.
It's fine. Oh, there it is.
But
Okay.
if it is there, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's actually really good, if I might say so myself. And I'll see you for the next one. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, as always, love each other